This girl swears that something in the Appalachian Mountains attacked her brother one night and wouldn't let go and completely changed his personality. This story is so terrifying. If you were watching this at night, I would recommend just saving it, watching it again in the morning because it is really, really scary. To protect the identity of her family and of her brother specifically, she wanted to remain anonymous, so we are going to call her Rachel. Have to be really careful giving location of this story again to protect identity, but it did happen in West Virginia. Rachel said she lived in a very rural area of West Virginia with her mom, her dad, and her brother. She came from a loving family. Her and her brother were straight A students, always did really well in school, but her brother, and we'll call him Mason, in high school started to kind of get tied up with the wrong crowd. And this group of friends, she said, wasn't like the popular kids in school. It wasn't like they were out partying at house parties and stuff. It was a very smaller group of kids, and they were kind of loners. And what they enjoyed doing was going out into the woods, kind of finding some old abandoned homes, having a few beers. She said she didn't really know what they were doing out there in the woods, but that they would go out, and usually he came home smelling like campfire, like smoky. The more he hung out with this group of kids, the more he became isolated, and his parents kind of started to get a little concerned. She said the night that changed everything, though, is whenever he told his parents he was going out to hang out with his friends in the woods. He didn't come home until super, super late. She said she was laying on the couch watching a movie when he came in the door, and she said that his clothes were ripped. She said he had some scratches on his face, but his whole demeanor was just like this very flat affect. Said she immediately got off the couch and was like, "Mason, what is going on? Like, why are you all scratched up?" And he just looked at her and he was like, nothing happened to me. She said, "No, Mason, clearly something has happened to you. I'm going to go wake up mom and dad because what is going on?" She said he has never ever been violent towards her, but he grabbed her by the arms and sat her down on the couch and was like, "Do not wake them up." Next morning, he wouldn't come out of his room. He refused to go to school. His parents were very concerned and again asking him, "Mason, what happened to you last night? Like, why are you all bruised up? Why do you have all these scratches? Why are your clothes torn?" They called the families of the boys that were his friends, and all of the families were like, "No, our sons didn't go out last night. They were all home." So Mason was never even with anyone. He went out into these woods alone, apparently. Rachel said as time went on, his behavior just became worse and worse. He became more isolated. He became more violent. He started mumbling to himself, she said. It was at this point that her parents thought that he may have some kind of a psychiatric disorder. She said he was seen by a psychiatrist and placed on meds, but the medication never helped. It wasn't until months later that Rachel said Mason finally admitted to her the reason he went out into the woods that night was because it was a dare from his friends. Apparently they had dared him to sit out in this abandoned home in the woods all night. He told her that as he was sitting alone there in the dark, something evil attacked him. He would not elaborate any further on it. She told her parents, who then told the psychiatrist, and they just kept increasing his medication, thinking again this is a mental disorder. Rachel said at this point, years have passed since this